Good evening. My name is Danny Stroud, and I was chastised a few times ago making this to never assume that people know who you are and why you're running. I skipped over it once, and I caught hell for a week. So I'm not going to skip over that. My name is Danny Stroud, and as you know, I live in District 1. I ran for House District 1 2 years ago, and what I learned is that with the right focus and a lot of work, we can win in Denver. And why am I running? It's because I've started early in my life with a sense of service, wanting to serve. All through school, I knew I wanted to go to West Point or join the Army. West Point was presented to me as an opportunity when my senator called me and says, would you like to be nominated? And of course, I did that. I went to West Point. I went to West Point during Vietnam, and I consider it lucky that while I was in West Point, the conflict somewhat ended, and they started pulling troops out. What's that?
You didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
You didn't miss anything.
I feel lucky. And so what, it's really technical. I'm called a Vietnam era veteran on my DD-214 and all my records. So I don't know if that gives me a higher pick list on in the cemetery plot or not. I really don't care. But so I served in the military for a total of about 13 and a half years. About half of it on active duty, where I was in Korea, and the second half of the reserves in the Army National Guard. I got married. I have 2 kids. My oldest daughter graduated from Columbia University about 3 weeks ago. She is one of half of graduating college students this year that have a job.
Yeah. Wow.
And she's probably one of a very tiny minority that doesn't have college debt. She worked her way through. We saved money for years to go put her through school, and then when we started, when the tuition was going up and the economy was going down, we started scaling back some things we were doing, and she started working. And I never thought I would say to my daughter one day, I'm proud of you, what you're doing, and what she was doing was tending bar in New York City. But she was making money hand over fist and paying her own bills, and I was proud of her, and I'm proud of her now. And so that's the way I'm wired. And I ran for the county GOP chairman after I didn't win my race in HD1 because I saw what was going on. Some of you remember when in 2009 we'd have a meeting and we wouldn't even need a whole table. We'd just sort of stand around a little bit and talk. There'd be 3, 4, 5 of us. And I saw what, when we get organized and we get our message cleaned up and we talk about how we want to behave as conservatives, what our role in this community is, this happens. I thought I heard somebody say you had 90% participation in PCPs. Is that what you said? That's probably 30 or 40% more than most other districts. And it's because in this district, there's this sense that we can win. And it's as a result that we have 2 great candidates running for House District 1. That's the role I want to play. I'm describing to you how I see my role and what I want to do. I want to serve this country because I do not want to be sitting here when I'm 90 years old and have my kids have whatever life they have based on us not doing something and me going to my grave regretting that I didn't take the opportunity that I have right now. I'm told not to say this, but I will say it because I love saying it, is I'm old enough to know better and still young enough to do something about it. And that's the way I look at it. And I'm putting my life, ask my family, ask my girlfriend, ask these guys, that's what I do. This is what I'm doing. I am dedicating to just quite simply saving America. Now, what does that mean? Why does America need saving? Because what made America what it is we had a limited government, the concept of limited government and individual responsibility, Horatio Alger, basically, for those that remember that book, you know. What we have done over the last 60 or 70 years is liberty by liberty by liberty. We've abdicated that to a federal government that's trying to become a national government. And when we get a national government where some for 535 people and a few bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. start deciding things for everybody in the country all at once, we have lost that federal republic environment that made it America what it is. You don't like Colorado, you can move to Texas. But when we become a national government, we've lost that. And we're very close to having that right now with the stuff that's going on. When we have a national government that thinks it's okay to pick a fight with freedom of religion,
amen,
that's across the line. So what my goal will be, and I've said this 100 times, most of you have heard it, is to do my best with my skills, my experience at running big companies, my experience at starting companies, take that with me to Congress and take my leadership skills, what they may be, and try to slow this train wreck down. It took us 70 years to get here. We're not going to get there in 4. We're going to get there we're going to get back there in a generation. I want to be able to hand the baton off to my daughters and say, I've done what I can, it's your turn, you keep running. And that's what I'm thinking about. And so, I'm trying to shine a light on Diana DeGette. Because if you look at her record and the way she treats us here in CD1, hardly ever has, she's starting to have town halls because she's feeling the heat and hearing the footsteps. But for the whole time I've lived here, I actually did not know what Diana DeGette looked like for several years.
not a pretty lady.
But she's fighting for things, fighting for bills in Congress that are making the government bigger and more powerful as compared to the small business, as opposed to the state, as opposed to the individual citizen. And if you look at her voting record, you can go to my webpage, you can see her voting record. It's amazingly, she's one of the top 2 or 3 most liberal Congress representatives in the country. We are not that district. CD1 is not that district. She does not, what she's doing doesn't match what the citizens here want nor need. And I promise that if I'm elected, I will be a good representative, because now what I've described to you is how I'm wired. I'm service-oriented. The other thing I'm supposed to not say, but I'm going to say it anyway, is why else would you want a job where 94% of the people would hate you right off the bat? It's because it's a matter of service, and it's a matter of taking the preparation of 59 years of my life and putting it, I feel I've been blessed is what I'm trying to say, that I have this opportunity, that I'm even in a position to run with the skills and the opportunity and people that support me. So that's where I'm at. I would really love your vote. I would really love to say it started here in this room. Thank you.
So, what can we do to wake up the loons who think that DeGette's doing a fine job?
Well, we're doing that now. And she's feeling the pressure now, because I mentioned that she's doing town halls, that things like, we're doing research on her. I'm working with a bunch of nonprofits that have areas to focus, and doing the research and making that information available to people through primarily informal channels. I'm going to specialty group meetings of oil and gas. Jim gave me another idea about another place I might be able to go, and actually just, I call them landmines. Maybe that's not politically correct, but just planting troubles for her everywhere.
How did she vote on the defense authorization?
You're talking about the NDAA?
Yeah.
She's all for anything that gives the government more power. Yeah, except for, that's really kind of a red herring, that particular act. I don't think it's going to be abused. It's never, the right to be able to arrest a citizen that's killing or attacking other citizens on American soil is treasonous. It's always been treasonous, and you could always have,
Yeah,
I know,
but there's a difference between alleged.
Sure. Yeah. I'm scared to death of the federal government as you are. I heard this stuff about the sheriff department's going to start using drones. I understand they're looking for crime and they're looking for pot fields, but you know what? they're looking at me too, and I don't like that. I think it's really none of their business, but stuff like that is stuff that's got to, the federal government just needs to be put back in its box, and that's all there is to it.
Well, wouldn't that be part of getting rid of the NDAA, is putting them back in their box? Because isn't that a gross distortion of what they have the power to do?
Yeah, I mean, I would have, if I had been in Congress, I wouldn't have voted for it, okay? But somebody asked the question here, you're 1 out of 535 count the Senate, and you go and you lobby and you try to rally around people to do things. And when I'm given the chance to vote, I can tell you I'll never vote for a tax, and I'll always vote for something that shrinks government. I promise that. Yeah.
So we know your message to Republicans. What's your message to independents this go around?
It's jobs, jobs, jobs. The economy doesn't, when it comes, kicks your business in the butt, it doesn't stop knocking the door and say, excuse me, are you a Republican or a Democrat or unaffiliated? If you pay the same taxes, you have the same problems if you're unaffiliated. And that's the message that resonates with the unaffiliated right now, because in Colorado, I don't know if it's the same way across the country, but I have a feeling it is, talking to other people in other states, is that the unaffiliated roles are growing. And it's because they feel there is no leadership in either party. And so what we have to do is we have to give them the feeling that this isn't really a partisan. I'm going to say another thing that I've been coached not to say. You all are my friends, and so if anybody's recording this other than him, oh well, I would say it anyway, is that the dividing line and the war for liberty in this country is not left and right. That's a false dilemma. It's really the ruling class and the entitlement class versus the citizen class or the producer class. That's the battle that's going on. They want to control it, and the producing class doesn't want to be controlled. And so there's producing class in Democrat and in unaffiliated and Republican. The idea is that we've got to help have this sense that what we're doing is we're focusing on the things that make America what it is. Free markets, personal responsibility, you get to keep the money you earn, nobody's going to make you feel bad because you're a 1%er. Those are the things that make America. And unaffiliated resonate with that message just as much as Republicans. In fact, Democrats do too. Yeah. Most of them anyway.
Time for one more question.
Yeah.
I got a question. If I should win, would you help me against the GATT?
Here's the way I look at it, is the GATT is the target, and if you are the weapon, that's the way it's going. Yes.
That's all. One more time for you, John.